Hello and welcome to the OB Networking Group. And today is Tuesday, October the 13th, 2020. And we're obviously meeting with Zoom. I'm very excited to see some folks, some new folks, and some folks I haven't seen in a while. We'll go ahead and get started. Today, the icebreaker question is, what would you like to get out of this meeting? Or if you come to a meeting in the future, what would be your goal of coming to a future meeting? And maybe it's you want to speak at a future meeting. Maybe that's your goal, is to find out about that. Or maybe your goal is to let people know about what you do and that you're looking for additional referrals. Or maybe your goal is, I need to hire someone. Does anyone know someone that does X? Or maybe your goal is, I want to improve my social life and I want to socialize and not have to worry about putting on a mask. Or maybe it's some of the above, none of the above, all of the above. And of course, as you introduce yourself, feel free to state your name and your business and what's motivating you to network and your goal for networking. So having said any of that, do I have any volunteers to go first? Thank you so much, Cameron, and please take it away.
Yeah, so hello everybody, my name is Cameron Gall. I'm here in Ocean Beach, actually just on the other side of Nimitz. I tell everybody I'm at Ocean Beach. I'm at 92107, the best zip code in the country. Can you hear me okay, Chuck? Okay. All right. So I used to attend the OB networking group when Chuck was running it previously, and haven't actually talked to Chuck for, gosh, it's been at least a couple of years, right? So
has it been that long? Yeah, it's been at least a year. I've lost track of it, Cameron, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm involved in quite a few different projects. I work in clinical research in my day job. I've been working in clinical research, specifically in oncology research, for about 30 years. But there's other things I'm very interested in. I also have a company in the cryptocurrency universe. It's called CryptoStops, cryptostops.net, and it's active, but I'm actually in the process of revising it. Right now it's a pay site. I'm gonna make it into a free site, and that's been a very, very slow process, and so it's pretty much dormant right now. So that was my initial reason for coming to the OB networking group. But I do, what I learned from last time, and what I assume will also occur this time, is that, everybody has got stuff going on that's a lot different than mine. And sometimes there are services that folks provide. And I actually hired somebody from the other networking group to do some marketing for me previously. I also, on another project, I worked with Terry. Terry did some review of a musical I wrote a few years ago, and so that was productive. So that's one of the main reasons. I also liked the, if you don't mind me just calling it, fellowship, getting to know folks in the neighborhood, and trying to keep up to date on what is going on in the neighborhood. And I guess that's about it for me.
Okay, great to see you. Great answers. And I see Dan Dennison is logged in. And Dan, we're doing the icebreaker. And the icebreaker today is, what would you like to get out of this meeting? Or what would you like to get out of the OB networking group at future meetings? So we'll give you some time to think about that. And do I have anyone else? Would anyone else like to go next? Otherwise, I'm going to have to call on someone. No volunteers?
I can go if you want me to.
Okay, please.
A newbie. Hi, you guys. I'm Elaine Bryan. The name of my company is Body and Soul Nourishment. I live up in Carlsbad. I've been in the San Diego area for about 36 years or so. I actually did some of my training down in OB, so I'm familiar with your area too. I'm looking to connect with people in the community. I love just connections, and so now all the connections are online on Zoom, which I really appreciate. So we can connect with more people even this way. So I'm really grateful for this platform that we have to do this. So when I saw OB networking group, I said, why not? So as a holistic nutritionist, I love to help busy entrepreneurs figure out a way to bring their body back to balance. I am a plant food enthusiast. So no matter what your eating style is, I always encourage people and educate them about the benefits of getting more plants in their diet every day and how to make that taste good. So I do plant-based meal prep classes online to teach people how to easily put some things together. I actually, can do a free consult with people to kind of look at their blood work, see where they're at, and give them some advice on some things and see if we want to work together on a goal. I also help people grow their own vegetables on these vertical tower gardens. That's why I have this here. I have, they're aeroponic tower gardens where you can grow inside or outside a house easily using 95% less water, less space. They grow faster. You don't have to have a green thumb. So they're all over the country, and now I'm moving outside of the country as well. So if anybody has any interest in learning how to easily grow their own, that's a great benefit as well. Now the gophers can't get this. So it's something that I'm really passionate about. So that's a little bit about me. I'm glad to be here and meet some of you. So
Awesome. We're so glad you're here. And do you remember how you heard about the group?
I don't really remember. I think I saw it on Facebook. Somebody that I know might have been in the group and somebody posted something and I went, hey, who are these guys? And then I invited Patricia. I invited Patty. So,
Oh, good job. Well,
yeah,
thank you so much for doing that. And so Patty, she mentioned your name, so I'm going to call on you next.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, actually, I was going to volunteer to follow Elaine. And yeah, everything that Elaine says about the Tower Garden is true. I have one, and man, this food that comes off of there tastes so great. I currently live in Valley Center, and this year I did put in a garden because the previous owners had left us all these garden boxes. And you know what? Yeah, gophers came right up to the bottom of the garden boxes. And because I don't like to use, chemicals because just I don't know how to use them. The nature got a good part of the garden. When you have a tower garden with the lights on it, you can have it running in your garage during the winter. I mean, and the food tastes great. So shout out for that. But I am kind of a serial entrepreneur. I've had businesses everywhere from finance industry into, I had a holistic practice, an acupuncture practice for many years. Currently, I'm just pursuing my passion and my hobby at the same time, which is real estate, through real estate investing, being an agent for other people who basically whatever part of life you're in your real estate life, I've been there, I've done it. I can help you navigate it with much more ease than if you were to just try to figure it out on your own. Everything from having, matching you with the right lender, finding you the right property, understanding what your goals really are so that you don't end up somewhere you don't want to be. So that's what I'm doing now. What I'd like from this meeting is I'm just looking to get more connections. All my connections previously were coming from people I knew or from open houses because I just like to be out there and meet people. And of course, COVID changed all that. So I got to shift my business up a little bit. I think there's some great investment opportunities coming up in the real estate market, no matter where you are. Like I say, in your real estate life, it's just what I love to do. So, just getting to know people. I know that once people get to know me, they want to work with me. And so I guess what I just need is just people getting to know me.
Excellent answers. We're so glad you're here. Good job. And so I'm going to call on Terry if she's ready to go. Whoop, you might be on mute.
Well, I started, and thanks for the heads up, Cameron. Motorcycle. I run the OB Writers Networking Group, which is a spinoff from Chuck's, and we're on Zoom too. And it's like the incredible shrinking meeting because so many people are so zoomed out. And I love Zoom, but I keep meeting people that say, sorry, zoomed out, zoomed out. And I'm going, yeah, but you get to see everybody. You don't have to hold onto your phone. So I'm a writer, educator, editor, kind of like work for the indie press. I'm also a Reiki master and a life coach. So I do a lot of different things too. And it's always nice when I meet other people who do a lot of different things. I like the term serial entrepreneur. Yeah, I just kind of toss everything into the pot. Yeah. So I just, want to keep connecting with people, and I miss when I'm not able to come to this. I miss it. Is Chuck and I go way back, like what, 8 years now, 9 years? I don't know even. And so do Mercy and I. I've known Mercy for ever and a day too. So I just want that long list of things: connect, referrals, any of it, social life.
Yeah, no.
Let's have a beer together,
Excellent answers. And since you mentioned Mercy's name, I guess she's going to be in the hot seat.
Yeah.
I never mind that because I like talking. So
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Terry and I and Chuck. I mean,
Yeah.
Chuck helped me design or maybe helped me with a lot of technical things when I built my barbecue website. So we do go way back also. And of course, all the meetings at Timonic Cafe and everything. And I love what you said, Terry, about being, I think you said serial entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what Patricia said, and I
said
I like it. I like it.
Because I call myself a Renaissance. Well, I say other people have called me a Renaissance woman. It has never made me gobs of money.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of interesting things. And I have to say, with having a few real estate people on here like Dan and now Patricia and whomever else, one of my big regrets is not getting more into real estate. I did own a home for 25 years in the San Fernando Valley when I was an LA gal where I grew up, then moved to OB about 11 years ago, and just couldn't afford to buy anymore. A boyfriend moved to me in OB from New York where he owned a home and sold. And then we really both just could not afford to buy. And we kept renting. And unfortunately, we got priced out of OB. And that is why I live in Las Vegas now. And I'll never be able to stop accidentally saying San Diego because it is my heart. It is my home. Never knew I was going to miss the ocean as much as I did and do. Las Vegas, like I've said, I'm sorry repeating, too cold, too hot, too ugly. Just not for me, but oh boy, is it affordable. I mean, we have a gigantic 4-bedroom, 3-bath house for under $1,500 a month. I mean, you can't beat that. But you know what? I always say, rather live in a shack if I could live in OB.
Yeah.
If I can move back, I would, and I am trying. So I'm just going to mention that just quickly, that I even proposed to my family, my son and his family, who do very well financially in Carlsbad, on a beautiful home there. Could you please plop a little tiny home in the backyard for me? Because I don't really want to live in the house, even though I love my grandkids and stuff.
Yeah.
He's not willing to do it, and I'm really unhappy about that. But it's okay. I'm doing my positive affirmations and all that stuff every day. And I actually even put on Facebook just recently, does anybody have any land that they're willing to just let me plop a tiny home down on? I can't pay you. I can't pay rent. I am a reseller on online of vintage things. I do okay. It's still not enough to pay rent anywhere in San Diego. So there's that. And I do want to say, Cameron, when I came into a very modest inheritance a few years ago, I invested most of it in cryptocurrency, keeping my fingers crossed that eventually it hits and I can make some money with that. And that's the only investment I have in my life. So but when I was in the OB, I was very involved. I wrote for the San Diego Reader. I wrote over 100 stories about OB. Unfortunately, a lot of them were crime stories and things like that because that's what the paper wanted. But as Chuck knows and Terry knows, I was a civic activist and very involved in a lot of civic groups in OB. Really miss that. Not going to happen out here because there just is really no community. I'm a food blogger, so I'm trying to get the food thing going here. I have my own group, Las Vegas Food Fanatics, as I also have San Diego Food Fanatics still. And my Las Vegas group is growing by leaps and bounds, but just slowly making some friends with chefs and things like that, trying to get that going here. I am coming back to OB for a 2-week visit, November 5th.
Yeah.
Yes, so I will be there for
Get
2
to have a beer.
Thank you. And I'll either be very happy or very sad. So I'll decide that when I get there, depending on how the election goes. But to answer the icebreaker question, I really am in this very selfishly for social reasons. I just want to keep my connections to OB as much as I can. Don't know, who knows? I could end up living there again, but that would be a miracle, and miracles do happen. So that's my main goal for coming back on here. Obviously, I can't be here every week. My little online reseller business is doing okay, pretty well, you know. Again, I mean, I just sold a tea set this morning for almost $200. Sold a few of those over the last couple of weeks. So, you know, that kind of stuff, it's great, and who knows what it might turn into. And I can do it anywhere on the planet. It's just a matter of having some room to keep the merchandise. And that's about it for me. And I love seeing you all. And here I am.
Great answers. Great to see you too, Mercy. And while you were speaking, I see Gabriel logged in and Thalia. Hello. And is it pronounced Edie? E-D-Y, Eddie? Oh, you might be on mute, dear. But in any case, welcome. And so what we're doing right now is everyone is introducing themselves in the form of an icebreaker question, which today's icebreaker is, what would you like to get out of this meeting? Or if you come back to a future meeting, what would you like to get out of a future meeting? And I know there's some first timers here, and maybe you're just getting the lay of the land and seeing some of the folks involved. So, you know, your answer might be, I'm here because I want to hire someone, or I'm looking for referrals because I need more business. Maybe you're here to improve your social life. Maybe you want to speak at a future meeting and you're trying to see the demographic of the group. So that's kind of what we're doing. So I'm going to call on Dan Dennison. Could you go next, Dan?
Yes. Yeah, and this is Toto.
Hey,
Saying
Toto.
hi. She's my little pound dog. She had a different name, but people started calling her Toto, so I thought, well, that was a good name change for her. Yeah. I enjoy these meetings because it's a chance to kind of interact and see other people. I think that one of the really troubling things in my mind in our culture is the divides we've all gone into different tribes, or whatever you want to call it. And to the extent that that has actually damaged many, many, many very long-term relationships. And that's really unfortunate. A good thing about this group is that I've never seen any political stuff really come up. I think that I probably have different views than some of you. Matter of fact, I know I do, but that's not a problem. And that's kind of the way it used to be, that, you know, you could sort of agree to disagree, and that was okay. And because I had a quick story of a friend from high school, which is like 1963 is when we graduated. He was really my best friend, best man at our wedding and everything, but he's gone so far to an extreme that it's not even possible to have a discussion about anything, because it immediately goes back to his very, very extreme Fox News view of the world. And it's sad because he's been a friend for a long time, and I'd like to continue it. So another thing, I think that a good thing about these meetings is that in these challenging times, I think it's really good for all of us to try to find a happy spot or a happy moment in our life. And I find this nice because there's no baggage that comes into it. And one of the things I wanted to share, for whatever it's worth, is that UCSD has a program called Mindfulness. And 2 years ago, my wife and I went to that program. That's where you went to the programs and there was a group of people and you went through mindfulness training and exercises. It was really, really good. And now that whole program it's all online. But if you go to UCSD Mindfulness, you'll see, and they actually have programs you can go to and you can tune in either audio on your audio or your audio video and see some programs about this. They also, if you sign up for the email, there's a couple times a day that they actually have an online active program on Zoom. It doesn't cost anything either. And I find that very, very beneficial just to sort of let the mind kind of go to a place where you're not worried about some other stuff that seems so present. So anyway, I think this is really a nice program. I'm glad you're doing it, Chuck. And so I also really enjoy just getting to know other people's ideas and things that they're doing. So it's a good experience for me. And I have been very active in OB, including like 5 or 6 years on the planning board. And I finally quit because I realized that it was more frustrating than beneficial for me. And I'm happy that I did that. And that's one of the things that really came out of the mindfulness training, that if you really work so hard for something and you just realize that you're up against a brick wall all the time, it's better to not worry so much about it. And I had several things that I got involved in, like the natural park at Sunset Cliffs. I was on the committee for 2 years, and anyway, it's just better to just get away. I hate to do it, but it is better. So I do enjoy these, and also I still practice actively real estate. Been doing that a long time, both residential and commercial. And the value for me is helping people make good decisions, for them to be happy with the decisions that they make. And just really quickly, 2 nights ago, recent clients took my wife and I to the lot for dinner and a great movie. And that's really nice when, you know, I spent over a year with these people and they really appreciated it. It wasn't just finding the house, but it was a relationship that was created, and it's really nice. And that's very beneficial. So thanks, Chuck.
Great job, Dan. And so AJ, I can't see if you're there, but would you like to share? And
Sure.
Oh, perfect.
Sure. Yeah, I'm here. So my name's AJ. I live in Bay Park, which is, some of you may know where it is. Most people in San Diego don't. It's across from Mission Bay. I've been here in San Diego for 16 years, moved from LA, and I work for Fox News. No, just kidding. So I own a company called Creducation. We do credit education, optimization, and debt settlement. About 7 years ago, we started taking on student loans. We negotiate student loans. And I've been involved in the credit debt collections business for going on 35 years. So, and the one thing I'm looking to create relationships like a lot of the other surreal or serial entrepreneurs have stated. And thank you very much, Chuck.
Good answers. You're welcome. So Edie, or is it Eddie? Edie, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. The laptop is Eddie, is my son, but my name is Marta. Nice to meet you, everyone, right here. This is my first Zoom meeting, and I came here like a little nervous. So let me introduce myself. My name is Marta. Recently opened a business in Mission Gorge, and I'm here looking for a more business because of the corona. So my business has been like a little slow.
I'm sorry, what does your business do?
I do eyelash extension and all body wax.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And how did you hear about this group? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was looking in Facebook and I found the link.
Okay, great. Well, we're so glad you're here. Welcome. And
Thank you.
so Gabriel, whoops, I see part of Gabriel. Gabriel, can you hear me now? There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been to I think the second or maybe third meeting, and so I'm just looking for pretty much like just contacts, social thing, and looking to possibly get in the car business, and I have some other sales background, so it's always good to be networking and meeting new people, even if I wasn't doing that. But that's pretty much it. Short and sweet. But.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here. And Thalia, so nice to see you. How are you today?
Hi, Chuck. Doing great. Nice to see everyone. And Max wanted to say hi to Toto. So hello from Max, buddy, at the Toto. Yeah, I've just always enjoyed these networking calls because I'm always really, it's fascinating how many different types of people with different types of businesses there are. And so I find it just a great way to network. And I've actually ended up working with, you know, different people from that I've met, including Terry and Kat, who was one of the speakers at one point. And Chuck and I do similar kind of complementary type of work. I do web design, I do graphic design, and I also lately have been doing a lot of video editing under the moniker of Little Sparrow Design. And I'll put my information into the chat. And yeah, I find the other reason why I love these calls is because I always learn something. Like you know, again, the speakers are very, there's a real diversity in terms of the topics, and I really enjoy that. And so I always end up learning something. And I always say that if I learn one thing on any given day, that makes it a really good day. So that's it.
Well, great answers. And I think everyone had a chance to share except for maybe Bill, but I think he may have stepped away. So if Bill, if you can hear me and you would like to share, please do so. And I'm not seeing you, so I'll go ahead and share as well. And my name again is Chuck, and I'm the organizer and one of the co-founders of the group. And I help small businesses with web marketing, and some of the tools I use are WordPress, search engine optimization, MailChimp, Facebook. And really, my goal with this group hasn't changed, and it continues to keep visibility in Ocean Beach as a resource for someone that needs help with WordPress or web marketing in general. I am offering this month a 1-hour free consultation for new clients. So if you're curious about a website or any kind of web marketing thing, please keep that in mind. And so I wanted to make an announcement too, and that is 2 weeks from today, Congressman Scott Peters is going to be on our call. So if you have any questions for Congressman Peters, I think he's only going to be on for maybe 20 minutes or so. He's pretty busy. Please put that down on your calendar. As of right now, we're not going to have a meeting next Tuesday, so that would be the next meeting 2 weeks from today. And then so for the balance of the time, since we don't have a speaker today, what we're going to do is we're going to do something that I did at one of the meetings at Taymana, where the speaker canceled at the last minute. And the way this works is I'm going to be looking for volunteers, and whoever volunteers, I'm going to ask everyone else in the group to ask one question of that person. It could be anything. It could be, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What kind of referrals are you looking for? What are you most proud of? Why did you start the business that you're in? But before we get started with that, I see Bill Shaw is now within earshot, and I want to give him a chance to answer the icebreaker question as well. Did you hear the icebreaker earlier, Bill? And I think you might be on mute.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
And please forgive me, that was a call I was anxiously awaiting, and got into more details than you all care to know, but it was a good call.
No worries.
The icebreaker was?
So the icebreaker was, or is, what are you trying to accomplish being on this call? Or if you come back to a future meeting, what would be your goal of coming to a future meeting? Maybe it's because you want to sign up to become a speaker, or maybe it's because you're looking to hire someone. Maybe it's you're looking for more referrals for your business. Maybe it's to promote a cause that you're interested in. Maybe it's to help improve your social life, or maybe it's some of the above or all of the above or something completely different.
Yeah, I like you, Chuck. You know, I mean, since the day we met, I liked your initiative and willingness to give, and I think all of us are sort of in that boat. You know, what goes around comes around, and it just seems like a fun group of people that want to help each other. Now, we don't know when or how that all happens, but just being familiarized or acquainted with what each of us does helps. I don't know how many times you guys have encountered, you know, you get this call out of the blue, and you know, somebody you might have talked to 18 months ago, and sure enough, they remembered something. So, you know, out of sight, out of mind, and I like you all, so whatever I can, whenever I can, I'll send your way, and we'll just make it one happy network group. I look forward to the when we can actually get together again and even share an adult beverage.
And please tell some of the new members about your business as well.
Well, thanks. I'm diligently working to be the shadiest guy in Southern California. A lot of my friends would say I'm overqualified, but I sell, help people design and install intimate outdoor living spaces or dining. Much like the best example is if you ever go to the Holding Company on Newport Avenue, you'll see one example of one of the systems I sell is on the second floor balcony, and those are retractable canopies. On the rooftop is another system that I sell, and there's also an example at the OB Surf Lodge, and another at Sunshine Grill. But I do a lot of residential also, so just trying to be a shady guy.
Awesome. So I was explaining to the group, Bill, we're gonna drill down on, and for anyone that wants to volunteer, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have everyone in the group is gonna ask them a question. It could be, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite restaurant? What's your ideal client? What kind of referrals are you looking for? So we can learn more about that specific member. Now, no one's required to be put in the hot seat like that. It's strictly voluntary. So does anyone want to go in the hot seat first? All right, so please, Patricia, so I'm going to call on each and every one of you. And just as a reminder, Patricia lives in Valley Center. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's done acupuncture, and now she's doing some real estate. I've probably forgotten a couple things. But Mercy, I'm going to ask you to ask Patricia a question. Oops, let's unmute you.
Well, Patricia, I'll ask a question. First-time home buyers, is that a particularly challenging at this time? I mean, you know, the younger generation is kind of accustomed to the Uber world, and you know, do you find first-time home buyers as being a little apprehensive about such a long-term commitment?
Well, it all comes down to what they're really capable of doing. You know, the market is moving fast. That doesn't necessarily mean it's like a bad market to be in, especially for a first-time home buyer. You know, the trick is when you buy your first home, you have to see it for what it is. It's not just your first home, it's actually your first real estate investment. So getting into the market at any time is a good time if you are properly positioned to do it. Meaning that you need to talk to your lender, you need to have, you know, you need to be prepared. And if you aren't qualifying for what you want, then you need to decide whether you're going to invest to get started, or if you're going to take a few months under the guidance of a really good lender, and I've got a couple that will coach you to put yourself into the right position, whether that takes 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. It's just deciding what your goals are. So I love working with first-time home buyers because they're kind of like a clean slate. It's like, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? You know, here's your best case, worst case scenario. The one thing about real estate is it's cyclical, and sometimes the cycles take a few years. Sometimes, like with 2008, they can take 12 years. But if you're in and you're patient, you'll always end up on the upside. The trick is you just got to make sure you're in the right spot when you start. So I love working with them because it's like, what have you got? What do you want to do? And we can just start from there. I mean, seasoned investors are also super fun, but the first-time home buyer, like I say, is like a clear slate. You know, we can create a lot. If you ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I recommend everybody read, you have to have a, you know, if you want to be successful, you have to have a particular viewpoint to what real estate is. You know, just, oh, we want home ownership. Well, just for the sake of home ownership can leave you house poor, which is scary. I'm sorry, that was a long answer, and I'll keep the rest of them much shorter.
All right, so Mercy, please ask Patricia a question.
Oh my gosh. You'd think I would have one formulated already. The question is really, it seems kind of weird, but is it really a buyer's market or is it a seller's market at this point? Is it both?
You know, it really depends what each of them want to do. It's always a buyer's market because there's always things for sale. And there's stuff out there for people. It depends on if you want to choose versus the price of the home or your monthly budget. You know, there's properties out there. I found a great little condo in Bonsall, corner unit in the 300s. You know, that's a mortgage payment of right now with rates, because rates are so low, the buyers are really an advantage for that because they have so much more buying power than at the, you know, they're in like the high 2s. Well, when they were in the 4s, your buying power is reduced because you can only afford so much a month, right? So right now, a 300-ish condo in Bonsall, you can end up with a mortgage payment well under $2,000, like $1,500, $1,200, depending on what you have. You know, depending on how much you want to put down. There's programs out there you can put down a lot or a little, you know, so it's kind of everybody's market depending on what you want to do and what you're currently capable of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Terry, please ask Patricia a question.
I'm going to take a segue and ask about your tower garden.
Oh, my tower garden. I love my tower garden.
I want to know what all you're growing in it and how the whole thing works, because I live in an apartment and we've got all these pots and these little bins, and you know, and because of the salt air and not enough direct sunlight, things don't always stay growing.
You know, the best thing we ever did was buy the lights. I think it was like, what, Elaine, like $70 or something to get the light thing for the tower. So it can be in our garage in the wintertime because we get kind of cold out here. You know, and when it gets too hot outside, we can bring it in also. But you regulate your air quality, like you say, and you regulate your day light cycle. I love it. Honestly, the stuff tastes so good. We don't have
What all are you growing in it?
to
Like
buy a lot of
kale
stuff.
and
Oh, we've grown kale. Romaine is my favorite because romaine comes out so sweet and soft. It's like it doesn't even look like romaine. In fact, I think Elaine in the background, I think I see, isn't that romaine on the back of yours?
Oh, there's lettuce here and there's basil, different types of basil.
Yeah.
I love
you know, so-
arugula too. I love arugula, and it's so hard to find.
Arugula.
Yeah, it's like honestly, it's like one of the best investments we did for our health. I love it.
So what do you call them? If I'm looking up. trying
Oh,
to-
contact Elaine. It's the Juice Plus is the company that's manufacturing these, and then all the ones that we've looked at, this is the one that's easiest to manage, takes up the smallest footprint in your home,
Mhm.
and it runs the water up the center and then disperses the nutrients in the water down past the roots. The most challenging thing for us was actually getting the seedlings started, but now Elaine actually grows them and sells them. So it's so much easier. You just go and grab them and pop them in. And you can even make installment payments on it, I believe, right? And they've got a shorter version, a taller version. Yeah, just contact Elaine. She'll hook you up.
What was that? Elaine.
Elaine Bryan. And you can even like look in the chat. Her stuff is in
Yeah,
the
that's what
chat.
I'm looking for. Tower Garden.
Elaine.towergarden.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good job. So Thalia, please ask Patricia a question.
Okay, so we'll go back to real estate, although I found the gardening stuff fascinating too. You know, in the times of COVID, it can be a little tricky when you want to do something in person.
Yeah.
And you know, buying a house is such a personal decision. And I mean, for me, like when I bought my first condo, I really, it was important for me to like walk through it. I'm just curious, are you doing like virtual walkthroughs now? Or like, do people get to a certain step to when they can actually go and visit the actual house? Or how are you kind of dealing with the complications of today's world related to that?
Well, the procedure that I prefer is that there is a COVID disclosure that everybody signs, saying basically, you know, if we walk through a property and we drop off COVID or pick up COVID, you know, we just know that's an inherent risk. I don't do the video walkthroughs so much because quite honestly, I'm like you. I like to be in the space and feel the space. You know, a video just doesn't do it justice. I mean, I've actually designed, you know, an office building that we were building, and when on paper, the measurements came out all wrong. Like every office was just the wrong size, you know. So you have to be in it to see it. So that being said, you can be really safe in that you have someone come in advance and open all the doors and turn on all the lights. You know, you walk through with your mask, you don't touch anything. You know, you're not in there terribly long. Some agents even want you to wear booties. I don't do that because I know they can be slippery and create a fall risk. But you know, you basically just do your regular walkthrough. You're just protected and it's set up so you don't touch anything. And as long as everyone has signed the disclosures, nobody's held accountable if somebody gets sick because, you know, you could pick that up anywhere, right? And yeah, the video walkthrough doesn't work for me. And honestly, on my listings, I've never had one be on the market long enough to take the time to even do like all of that. You know, there's the photographs and then we just go see, so.
All right, so Gabriel, please ask Patricia a question.
Let's say, what's the most rewarding thing, like about why you do of all the sales opportunities out? Why realty? Like, you know, let's say.
Well, in all my business, one thing that I found that I enjoyed the most was being a connector. You know, connecting people to other people for their services and things, and like giving shout outs to people. With real estate, you know, nothing excites me more than seeing somebody moving into their new house, right? They're all excited. It's just, I mean, moving sucks, but acquiring something like that you're going to turn into your home I love it. I really enjoy doing it. I just, that's the biggest payoff for me.
Okay.
And Elaine, please ask Patricia a question.
You know, it's so funny. Gabriel asked the same one I was going to ask, what your deepest I was like, dang. So now I have to think real quick. So out of your experience of all the houses you've owned and commercial buildings and things like that, what did you learn from owning your own real estate that you bring into the helping other people with real estate? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the one thing that I've learned that I think is just the most important thing, and it's most overlooked, is the strategy. This is the most important investment you'll probably ever going to have. It also can be the one that serves you the most. You just have to have your strategy and your what ifs figured out in advance. Like, you can buy that first time home buyer condo for $300,000, but you have to know what your options are down the road. If the market tanks, are you going to be happy staying there till it recovers? Because you'll have a roof over your head, which is really great, you know, versus renting where you might be, you know, at someone else's whim. You know, you want to have your options open, whether you rent it later when you buy your next home. I mean, real estate gives you so many options, but you have to know your strategy and you have to be able to review it and revise it on a regular basis.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right. So AJ, if you're there, please ask Patricia a question.
Absolutely. So Patricia, being in real estate for how long have you been in real estate?
34 years as either an investor or an agent.
So why move to Valley Center?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my daughter got into horseback riding, and we bought her first horse, and I wanted that to be a business for her as well. So her first horse became a lease horse when she, upgraded. That horse, got injured and then went into retirement. So we were living in Oceanside in a home that we loved, and we've really fixed up. But the horse was costing us $1,100 a month to live in a barn somewhere else. Wow. So the math was, we could, instead of paying that $1,100 a month out to somebody just to take care of a horse who's standing there, what if we added that to our existing mortgage payment? Where could we live? Went, oh my gosh, we could live in Valley Center and have a beautiful house with a barn. We have 2.5 acres. I mean, the place was already set up. The prior owner was a barrel racer, and so her barn and everything was just beautiful. Like, we have an arena, we've got room for a vineyard, we've got all this great stuff, and we're a little cheaper because when we brought her home, her feed and costs went down to like $200 for just buying hay and having her feed done. And it's like, wow. So we have all that more and more. And our mortgage payment, actually, when we refied to get the lower rates this year, our mortgage payment actually went down from where we were living. So it was basically a cash flow lifestyle choice that totally worked out. And Valley Center, I didn't know anything about it really because it was kind of out of my bubble. It's a great little town. The people are great. The neighbors are friendly. We all look out for each other. It's like going back to where I grew up in Canada. So yeah, so that's why Valley Center. Now I travel everywhere. Everywhere is 45 minutes away from me. So I just, I'm always going into town, so to speak. So I do real estate everywhere. And so yeah, I highly recommend Valley Center though. You want to get away from it all. Not near the beach, but can't have it all.
Good answer. And then Dan, if you're there, would you like to ask Patricia a question?
Yeah. With COVID, how's your acupuncture business been?
Actually, when the insurance changed in 2014, the acupuncture business, the cash flow model didn't work. So I went into retirement on that and sold a rental property and started a vending company with my husband that we had for 5 years that we sold last year so that I could focus fully on doing real estate for other people. I have friends and family that still come over and get treatments because I never want to leave anybody needing anything. That's why my table's there. So it's not a profit center right now. It's a family care center.
So Martha, would you like to ask Patricia a question? Oops, let's unmute you.
Yes, Patricia, I want to ask you how you do for look so great like you are And you look like a happy woman.
Well, I am a happy woman, but a shout out right back to you. I do get my eyelashes. I have
Yeah.
recommend them. I highly recommend them. And yeah, and because with all us wearing masks, our eyes are really highlighted right now. So someone in your business probably has a lot of clients. The eyelashes, the eyebrows, and having properly, shape around your eyes is really important. But
Yeah, you look
yeah.
great.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
It's partly due to your industry. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent answer. So we have 10 minutes to go, and Dan Dennison has volunteered to be in the hot seat next. So Bill, please ask Dan a question.
Dan?
Yes.
What do you do, Dan?
Uh,
I forgive me. I'm going to use another dementia card here, but while I was away on the call, I know I've seen you in here more than once, and
Yeah.
I want to say it's some kind of coaching, but
no, I'm active in community events. I also am an active realtor. I've been doing that for a long time.
okay. Gosh, Chuck, you put me on the spot here. I've run out of questions.
We can come back to you. Why don't we,
I do have a comment, though.
Yeah.
I did want to make a comment to all you real estate folks, or anybody thinking of buying, that as a former loan originator and at one time a financial advisor, I dealt primarily in fixed income for high net worth individuals. But I vehemently oppose the idea of anybody doing a 15-year mortgage. A 15-year mortgage makes no sense at all. When you do a 15-year mortgage, you are relinquishing control of your money to the bank. Namely, if I take a 30-year mortgage and make the same payment as you would on a 15, it'll be paid off in roughly 16 years.
You're absolutely correct, Bill.
But
I agree with you.
If on the other hand, if you did lose that job, or if there was an income disruption and you're stuck with the higher 15-year payment, you don't have a choice.
Right.
Number one. Number two, and Dan might be old enough to remember the days of 14, 15% mortgages or interest rates. As much money as they're printing today, it is not unrealistic to believe that your money market will one day again pay 8, 10, 12%. At which point, I would much rather earn 10% in a liquid asset and pay 3.5% or 3% on a tax-deductible mortgage. And
You're totally correct. The first house we bought, interest rates were 18%. And I couldn't qualify for a loan. It was in Miami, so we had owner financing. But it's really been all over the boards. But you're absolutely right. I think a longer term mortgage, and it's just pay a little more each month. That's the way to do it.
At least then you're in control. I mean, like I say, if you, if for whatever reason, didn't want to make that higher payment, and at the end of 15 years, or, you basically have a non-producing asset. You're not going to realize any return until you actually sell it. So I just always, discouraged people from doing a 15-year mortgage to produce a which ultimately gives you a non-producing asset. End of story.
So I saw Mercy put her hand up. Did you have a question for Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably even for Dan or Patricia, just real estate. Not knowing a lot about real estate and not even owning it this time in my life, I really, and especially during COVID times, when sadly so many people have lost their livelihoods, their jobs. I have so many friends in the food industry who've lost their restaurants, everything. How, And my girlfriend, my best friend who lives in OB, is studying to become a real estate agent. How do you really make a living as a real estate agent when so many people obviously cannot afford to buy or just don't have the resources? And I know the answer might always be, oh, but people are always looking to buy. But these are really unusual times.
You're
so,
right.
yeah. So Dan, really,
Well, my career has been
making money.
running. Yeah, well, my career has been running large master plan communities in 5 other states before coming back to San Diego. So in doing that, I was involved in the acquisition of properties and the design and planning and entitlement and the development, and then the builder programs and selling properties. So that's been my career, but always I had salespeople working for me. So when I came here after 08, the crash in 08, we came back here where I grew up. And so I'm sitting there saying, well, what can I do? Well, I have a real estate license, so that's what I'm going to do. But it is really it's a very challenging time. And also I am of the opinion, and I would say most people would disagree with me, I think we're going to have a significant economic crunch coming next year for the very reasons you cited, Mercy. There are so many people unemployed, losing jobs, people who can't pay their rent are going to be booted out. I think that there's going to be lots and lots of foreclosures. I happen to be on the County Assessment Appeals Board, where people would appeal an assessment. We had our training in March, and the head assessor for the city or the county, he's now the head of the State Association of Assessors. And he told us, you get anti-bar the door, you're going to have so many appeals of assessments next year, it's going to be off the charts. And so it's not just me with that opinion. I mean, they know that this is going to happen. So it's a very challenging time. But on the good news, my son just sold his condo in LA. And I said, this is a great time because you're at the top of the market.
But is my girlfriend crazy just starting to learn to get her license? Is this a weird time? No. Yes?
No, I don't know. It depends. It depends on where you go. I mean, there's a lot of real estate companies that are big and take people in, you know, in assistant support positions, and there's a lot of ways. But I think the other part of it, and again, it's my personal opinion, that I find ethics the most slippery here of anywhere I've been. And that bothers me a lot. I think it's really important to be candid and honest with people and give them the answers. It's just like Patricia's saying the same thing. You got to give them the data and they've got to make a choice. You know, for example, I've had a lot of clients who wanted to buy a house, and I said, look, there may be an $80,000 expense for the plumbing and electrical system in this old house. And you're really not in a position to do that, or it's going to string you out too far. So, but a lot of people, it's for many, many realtors, it's just about the commission. How quickly can I get paid? I just had an experience 2 days ago, someone saying, I can't believe you're spending so much time with me. And most of my clients, it's months, and many of them over a year, but I'm not a high producer.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right, well, we're about out of time. It's 12:58, and I actually have to jump on another call. So we'll go ahead and end the meeting. And remember, if you're interested in having a chance to talk to Congressman Scott Peters 2 weeks from today, I'll be sending out an email and posting it on Facebook. I really appreciate everyone jumping on the call today, and I hope you have a very productive rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Take care.
Chuck.
Bye-bye.
Make it a great day.
You too.